Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. My name is Lucia and this is Lulu's Leaves. Today I have to do some plant chores which don't sound fun, but honestly they're very relaxing. So if you do want to watch that, please stick around. I'm going to be cleaning some leaves, watering some plants, picking off some dead leaves. If you guys aren't already subscribed, please hit that button down below. And if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up as well. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video though. I know that I'm going to enjoy making it because I really do love spending time with my plants and just looking at them, making sure everything's okay. But I also am going to show you guys what's not okay, and I'm not going to hide the bad stuff from you. There are definitely some plants that are struggling more than others, and I don't want you guys to think that I always have perfect plants and that my plants are always thriving, because that's just not the case. I just want to make it clear that I'm not a perfect plant mom, but I'm trying my best, and I want to share any knowledge that I have that may be helpful to you guys with you guys so that you can be better plant parents too. With that being said, let's get straight into this video and start taking care of my plants. Alright guys, so I'm going to start watering my plants. I'm just going to take them one by one and kind of check to see if they need water. They don't all need water all at the same time. That's one thing that a lot of people don't really understand. There's not really a watering schedule. You really do have to check each individual plant, because depending on what soil they're planted in, they're probably going to need to be watered at different times. So if you don't already have one of these, go get yourself one of these. I'll link it in the description down below. This is from Amazon. It's a little moisture meter. So now I also want to take some fertilizer, because I am fertilizing my plants with every watering nowadays. I'm just doing a really low dosage basically. So I'm just going to like sprinkle a little bit in there, and that will be enough for all of my plants, or at least all of this watering can worth. All right, so this is my philodendron fibrosum. I'm just gonna stick this moisture meter into the soil and check it out. Yeah, so this is at a 1, so it definitely could use a watering. And I just like to water until I see some water draining out of the drainage holes in the bottom. So this guy is sitting in a little catch pot, and you can tell the water went all the way through, because you can see in this clear pot it looks saturated here. So you just want to make sure that you're really getting the soil all evenly moist. Next is my Monstera Peru. This guy is at a level 2 or 3. I'm probably going to leave this one. I do find that my Monsteras like to dry out a little bit more, so just so I don't promote any root rot, I am going to leave this guy for another day or so. So I have my philodendron biliaceae here, or biliaceae. This guy's putting out a new leaf. I do find that when plants are putting out new leaves, they typically do need some extra watering. But this guy is also now in a ceramic pot. It used to be in a terracotta pot. So I do find also that I need to water it less, because the soil is retaining a bit more moisture because the pot is not absorbing any of it. So this guy is at a 3, and I don't want to water it quite yet. I'll probably water this when it gets to a 1 or 2. And this is my philodendron. What is this? This is a variegated Burl Marks. This one has put out 2 new leaves recently, and these are them here. They are super cute. I do find that this one has to be watered quite often because it's in a very small pot. That's another factor that you have to think about when watering your plants, is if you have it in a really small pot, you're likely going to have to water more often, because that soil is going to dry out quicker than if it was in a big 12-inch pot like my Gloriosum behind me. That guy definitely needs to be watered a little bit less than some of my smaller potted plants. Then we have my Melanochrysum. This guy could use with a watering. So this guy is in a cache pot, so I will check out Yeah, it is dripping. So that's great. I do really like cash pots that have kind of a smaller top and a wider base, because then you can fit your plant in there and it kind of sits on that rim, and you can collect a little bit of water in that reservoir before you have to dump it. So if you are in a rush, you don't always have to be dumping out that cash pot when you water your plants. There's a little bit of wiggle room. So now we have my philodendron snowdrift. Honestly, this plant, I have re-fallen in love with it. It is growing lots and I love the way that it's growing. I think the color of these leaves are also super cool. They come in almost white and they fade to green, and they get really patchy like this, where they'll get darker patches and they get speckly as well. It's just a really cool plant. You can see this one leaf here is much darker than the others, and it's just a little bit further along. This one is the newest leaf here. Let's check if this guy needs to be watered. Yeah, this guy could use with a watering. It's at a number 2. Another tip is you really want to water in kind of waves. So put a little bit of water in, let it sink to the bottom, and then repeat, because if you put way too much water in and you don't see it immediately running out from the bottom, you might overflow your little tray because it does take some time for the water to absorb and pass through the plant. So that looks pretty good to me. It's not dripping like crazy, but we have thoroughly watered this guy. We then have my philodendron mame. This one is doing pretty well. It's starting to put out some larger leaves now, which is really encouraging. It was putting out these really, really tiny leaves, and it did have one nice big leaf, but that, or not big, it was actually really small still, but that leaf did die off. It was the oldest leaf, and now this is the largest leaf. This is very clearly a seedling, so large is probably not the right word to use, but it is actually putting out a new leaf here that looks like it's going to be quite large compared to the others, so I'm very, very excited about that. I don't know if you can see, it's pregnant there. And my guess is that this guy is going to need to be watered. Yep. I love this pot too. It's so cute, and it has a drainage hole, so that's kind of the best of both worlds. Right now, honestly though, I'm kind of happy either way. If a pot has a drainage hole, that's great. If it doesn't, I'll use it for a leca plant. So yeah, that is my philodendron mame. I'm gonna move on to my anthuriums now. This is my Anthurium crystallinum. It is putting out a new leaf. I was trying to be a helper and I didn't help it, but it's looking okay. It just has a little tear in the side there, but that is all right. It's still very cute. This guy could definitely use a watering. Yay. Next up we have my Anthurium forgetii. This one is doing very well. Which one's its new leaf? This is its new leaf. Super nice. This guy could probably go a little bit longer without being watered. It's at about a 4 or a 5 between there. So I'm gonna wait until it gets to a 3 or a 2. Next up we have my variegated string of hearts. This one I can tell needs to be watered. The leaves are not very plump right now, and some of them are getting a little bit wrinkly. So definitely time for a little water. And we are getting some drip, so that is all done. Next we have my Monstera dubia. This one tends to need to be watered at least once a week. It is in a smaller pot because when I got it, the root system was not very developed. Yeah, this guy needs a water. It's like my little baby. I find this guy doesn't really hate being moist for a little bit longer, so if you do have it in a larger pot kind of to fit that board in there, don't worry too much. I didn't find that root rot was particularly easy to get on this plant, so yeah. I also did add some moss to the board just to promote kind of a more shingled look, because when I propagate this guy, typically it grows really long runners and it doesn't look super cute. So that is my attempt to correct that with this. Then we have my Philodendron Brantianum. This one, I can already feel that it's kind of moist, but we'll check. No, it could use a water. That's good. Good, I checked. I did chop some of this guy off recently because the leaves were getting really, really tiny, and it kind of looks like they're still going to be tiny here, but I don't know. I find that that's pretty normal with these guys. That's what I've heard at least. Oh, there's a bigger one. That's good. But yeah, I do have it on a pole, so I'm doing the best that I can, but it's still giving me really small leaves for some reason. If you know why that is, let me know in the comments. This is my Anthurium clarinervium. The new leaf got a little bit warped. I don't know what happened there, but one half is cute, one half is not so cute, but that's okay. I don't really mind. As long as it's putting out new growth, that's really all that I care about, because for a while it wasn't even doing that. So yeah, it doesn't have any pests or anything, so we will just keep on letting this guy grow, and eventually I'm sure it'll put out a nice perfect leaf, but somewhat unfortunate. This one doesn't need to be watered. I think I watered this one recently. Then I have my Philodendron Vitarifolium. This one could probably use with a repot, and I think it's going to be on my list to repot when I do end up repotting some plants. But this guy always needs to be watered, so that's my hint that it probably needs a bigger pot. I could probably also put this one in a, this is going to overfill. So another thing that I could do with this plant is put it in a ceramic pot. So I will probably do both. I'll probably up pot it a little bit and put it in a ceramic pot when I do end up, I will put that one in a ceramic pot when I do end up repotting it. I have my Philodendron rugosum back here too, but that one definitely doesn't need to be watered. It likes to stay a little bit on the dry side, so I like to water that one every 2 weeks. So I'm going to check out my Gloriosum behind me and see if that one needs to be watered. It does actually dry out relatively quickly, which is a good thing. It means that that soil is well draining enough and we're not going to get any root rot or anything like that. For a big pot this size though, you definitely want a moisture meter, because there's no way you can tell with your fingers if the bottom of that pot is soaked. So yeah, this one can be watered. I just need to refill the can, so I will be right back. All right, so I'm back with a full watering can here. And I'm just gonna water a few more on camera. If I watered everything, we would be here for days. I have about 150 plants, so it does definitely take me a while to water my plants, probably around an hour or two to get through everything. But that's just with me being thorough. I really like to make sure that my plants need to be watered and that I don't just go around and sprinkle a little bit of water into everything, because that is how you kill your plants. That is how you get lots of yellow leaves, and we definitely don't want that. So I will do a few more and then we will go on to cleaning my leaves off with my solution. So I have here my Anthurium effusisphathum, if that's how you pronounce it. That's how I've been saying it, so we'll see. This guy definitely needs to be watered too. It's been a little bit, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. There we go. So I'm gonna move on to my shelf because I know that my Calathea and Maranta would probably enjoy some water right now. So let's go over there. So my Hoyas did get watered a little while ago, so I'm not even gonna look at those today. Probably give it another half a week and then I will revisit them, but they do a little bit better with underwatering than most plants. So I do tend to neglect them a little bit in a way, but that's actually a good thing sometimes for some of your plants. You want to give them a little bit of time to just be plants and not hover over top of them all the time. So I'm going to give all of my Maranta a good watering right now because I know that they all need to be watered. So this is my Maranta, I think this is the red Maranta. And then my Maranta lemon lime. My variegated Maranta back here is probably okay actually. I think I may have watered that one on its own because the other ones all need water, but my other variegated Maranta definitely needs some water. And these guys could use with a little soaking. These are my jewel orchids. Well, not a soaking because sphagnum shouldn't be soaked. But that's that for them. Then we have my Calathea down here. I do have a few other Calathea in my kitchen, but we're not gonna look at those guys today. So let's just get on to watering these guys. This guy does not need to be watered. That's the Rosier Picta Rosie. My Magic Star likely needs to be watered. Could probably go a little bit longer. Dottie is also okay. So is my Orbifolia. I must have watered these guys and forgot about it. Yeah, these guys are all okay. I'll check my Ornata, or what is this one? Fasciata. My Fasciata could use some water, so I will water that one. It is in terracotta. It's one of my last Calathea that are in terracotta because I do find that they just do not do well unless you water them every 5 seconds. So hopefully this is in focus. If not, you probably won't be seeing it. So that's gonna be it for the watering portion of this video. Now stay tuned for the leaf cleaning and pest prevention part of this video. All right guys, so I'm going to start cleaning off my leaves now. I find that wiping them down every 2 weeks can be really, really helpful to prevent pests. My Calathea are in front of me right now, and these guys are very susceptible to spider mites. Honestly, if you have Calathea, you are going to struggle with spider mites at one point in time. So you should get used to wiping down your leaves every once in a while. I will show you the mixture that I use when I'm wiping my leaves down, but you can also just use insecticidal soap. That works really well in my opinion. In this bottle though, I have made a mixture for myself. I've used a bit of this, but I filled most of this up with water. Then I added about a tablespoon or a teaspoon-ish of dish soap, and I kind of eyeballed the neem oil, but I used 100% neem oil, and I added about 2 or 3 tablespoons, and that seems to be doing the trick, and it's not hurting any of my leaves so far. So that is what I'm using if you guys are interested. But yeah, let's just get straight into this. I don't think I'm going to be talking much during this part. I'm probably just going to kind of clean everything, but you'll get to see me doing that and how I do it. The last thing I will say is I don't have any paper towel right now, which really sucks, but I'm going to be using these cotton pads that I use as makeup remover pads as well. So if you see me using something other than paper towel, that's why. And this is what I'm using. So this is my beautiful Calathea Dottie, and I'm just gonna start off with this guy. I have a towel underneath me because I find that when I spray these, they drip a lot onto the ground. So you wanna make sure you get the undersides of the leaves too, because that's where most pests, in my experience, do end up hiding out. You do want to make sure that you keep these guys out of the sun after you spray the neem oil. Until it dries, then it should be okay to go back in the sun, but they are definitely a little bit more sensitive to sun after they are oiled up. So that is this guy all done. We'll move on to my Calathea fasciata now. While Calathea do get a ton of spider mites quite often, I do find that they're actually really easy to spot because they have these purple backs, and usually all of the white dots that are those spider mites show up really nicely against that background color. So as long as you're checking your leaves, it's not super difficult to find them, and then you can treat them if you find them. I know a lot of people really hate spider mites and think that they're the devil, and I mean they are. They can attack your plants and kill them if you don't notice soon enough, but I have never had any issues getting rid of spider mites. Usually just takes me 1 or 2 treatments at the most, and then they're gone. I do recommend using a different wipe or a different piece of paper towel when going from plant to plant, because you don't want to transfer any bugs, if there are any bugs, over to another plant. So this guy's all done. This is my Calathea Rosiopicta Rosie, and it's not doing super well, but we're going to just keep on keeping on with it. This one's all done too. Next up, we have my Magic Star here. This guy has some dead leaves that I'm just gonna chop off. If you have leaves that are dead like this, you really want to make sure you take them off, because stuff like this is the reason that bugs show up. They love decaying stuff, especially fungus gnats. So once those leaves are dead, make sure to take them off. Next we have my network Calathea, or Calathea mosaica. This one's super bushy, which makes it a little more difficult to clean, and it also makes it more difficult to spot pests. So you really want to make sure, even if it looks daunting, that you do clean these leaves so you don't end up with a crazy infestation that you didn't even realize. Even if you can't clean your leaves super often, if you don't have the time, just make sure you're checking your plants so that if they do have something, you are catching it. That is that for this guy. And we've got my little baby Calathea orbifolia, which isn't doing horribly. There aren't too many brown tips anymore, so hopefully it stays that way. All done. Then we have my Maranta leucanora. This is the lemon lime. I'm really excited. I'm getting some cuttings in a trade of this guy so I can fill out my plant a bit more. If I didn't already mention it, wiping off your leaves is also very helpful for taking the dust off of them, because when dust sits on your leaves, your plant isn't able to photosynthesize as easily, and you'll probably get less growth out of your plants. So if you have clean leaves, they are likely going to grow faster because they are able to collect energy from the sun easier. We've also got my other prayer plant here. This is the Leucanora red, I think it is. Alright guys, I think that is it for cleaning leaves. Alright guys, that is it from me. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope that you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a thumbs up down below. And if you're not already subscribed to my channel, please hit that button as well. I would love to have you a part of my little family here. If you guys watched all the way to the end of this video, please let me know what your preferred pot type is, if you like ceramic pots or if you like terracotta pots. And also, are you a fan of pots with drainage, or would you rather have a nursery pot inside of a cache pot with no drainage? I'm always curious to know what you guys are thinking and what you prefer, because I think that I prefer drainage, but I don't know. We'll see. Anyways, that is it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!